So I would like to welcome Peri Poyer to our video call. She's running for the South Dakota Public Utilities Commission. And so we've just got a few little uh, things to take care of before we get into your questions. The South Dakota Property Rights and Local Control Alliance, SDPRLCA, thank you for participating in our 2026 South Dakota Public Utility Commission candidate video survey. As a nonpartisan grassroots organization, SDPRLCA is dedicated to protecting private property rights and maintaining local authority. SDGOP delegates are interested in knowing where the candidates stand on these core issues as they prepare to attend the South Dakota GOP convention later this week. Um, so the ground rules are we'll have an introduction of a minute and a half. You've received 6 targeted questions. You only need to answer 5. And so while we're on that topic, which of the 6 questions would you like to skip?
Um, Three?
Number 3. Okay, got
Those
it.
are really good questions. I like them all.
Okay, yeah. And then and so there's 2 minutes allowed per response on those. The closing statement will also be 2 minutes long. Upon completion of the video survey, the candidate will log off the call. All 5 of your questions focus specifically on property rights and local control. So we've already talked about you've received your 6 questions. We've decided what 5 you're going to answer. Recordings will be posted on our Facebook page, YouTube channel, and website. And so we'll go ahead and get started. For your introduction, I'd like you to introduce yourself to the voters. Please tell us about your background, your connection to South Dakota, and what specific conviction or event led you to step forward and run as a candidate for South Dakota Public Utility Commission in 2026.
Ooh, those are all good questions. I have 2 minutes. 2 minutes?
You have a minute and a half.
A minute and a half. Okay. My name is Peri Pourier. I am running to be your candidate for PUC at the convention this weekend. So, a little bit about me. I'm a U.S. Navy veteran. I have a background in intelligence. I have 3 different specialties in intelligence. I was very, very blessed. Um, for God to pave this path forward. I have over 10 years of experience in intelligence analysis and collection, which means I took large amounts of information. I sift through it, I weighted it, I looked to see what was credible, what was not credible. I weighed sources and I fed battlefield commanders. I spent 26 months in Afghanistan doing that after I was in the Navy. So 10 plus years of experience on on my way to what was next after that deployment. I took care of my grandmother for a year. Um, During that time, God opened the doors for me to return home. My home is Pine Ridge, South Dakota. I was born and raised there. I'm a 6th generation South Dakota, and my great 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 grandfather was a Fort Laramie Treaty translator. Both sides of my family, this is where my roots are. Whenever I came home in 2014, oh, 15, excuse me, 2015, I became the background investigator and adjudicator for Oglala Sioux tribe. That means I was in charge of 66 programs and I did background investigations, adjudications for every single employee. I had to make tough decisions. I weighed information. I looked at the laws. I see how they applied, and I had to make hard decisions. But I had to be right. That's the thing about U.S. Navy veterans is they have to make the right call or people die, or the right people die, depending on what the mission is. In 2018, I ran for the House of Representatives, the state, and I've been there ever since. I am a 4-term, 8-year legislator. I was asked to run because of my 100% landowner record. I stand for landowner rights, and I have always stood for landowners' rights.
All right, very good.
And I'm
Um,
very thankful for being here.
all right, great, thank you. So question number 1 is on eminent domain, pipelines, and local control. When evaluating a private infrastructure permit that requires eminent domain over unwilling landowners, what standard of proof do you require to establish a legitimate public use, and what specific enforceable protections will you demand from developers to ensure private property rights and local safety are genuinely safeguarded?
Well, public use, the bar for public use must be very high. This position is they say it's quasi judiciary, which we look at the evidence, but the the details, you could always say either the details, God is in the details or the devil are in the details. We have to be very vigilant. We have to be very, very aware. Look at what are the direct benefits to South Dakotans, and is this really a private benefit, a private profit, or is this very much a public direct benefit for the public? So scrutinize with a heavy, heavy hand. We have to get down to the details to see what exactly is public use or is it private gain.
All right. Question number two is grid reliability versus industrial demand. How will you balance approving these high demand industrial projects against the absolute necessity of maintaining a reliable, uninterrupted baseload power supply for South Dakota families during extreme weather events?
Well, South Dakota families come first. If you have a high industrial load, then you need to prove that our grid could do it. Families come first. We don't mess around with winters in South Dakota. We are prepared. We know what it takes to get through it. And any high demand applicant will demonstrate sufficient generation that exists before they will be approved. They have to carry their own weight, just like any other South Dakotan.
All right, we're skipping question three. Let's go to question four, renewable mandates and carbon standards. What is your position on utility companies passing the costs of carbon capture technology or regional compliance credits directly onto South Dakota consumers?
Well, South Dakotans should not be forced to foot the bill for federal carbon compliance. There's technology, that technology a lot of times primarily serves a company's regulatory positioning. If a utility chooses to pursue those investments, then it comes out of their own pockets or the shareholders' pockets. My job is to protect South Dakota taxpayers, ratepayers. It's not to subsidize corporate interests.
All right, question number five is the role of a commissioner. Do you view a public utilities commissioner's primary role as a neutral arbiter strictly bound by the legal record, or as an active watchdog protecting the public from corporate overreach? And are these roles mutually exclusive?
No, a commissioner is very rigorous and bound by the legal record. However, the law is supposed to protect our citizens in our state. So they work together hand in hand. We have to have integrity because that's where the trust of the voters come from the people, not just the voters, but the people and the ratepayers. They should reinforce each other. Yes, we have to make decisions, but we have to make decisions what is best with the people of South Dakota.
Absolutely. All right, our final question. Would you support automatic permit suspensions or severe financial penalties if a utility company intentionally bypasses landowner agreements or safety protocols? And how will you prevent developers from using corporate shell shifts similar to loopholes feared in SB 201 to evade direct liability?
Can you repeat the question one more time, please?
Absolutely. Would you support automatic permit suspensions or severe financial penalties if a utility company intentionally bypasses landowner agreements or safety protocols? And how will you prevent developers from using corporate shell shifts similar to loopholes feared in SB 201 to evade direct liability?
Intentional violations of landowner agreements or safety protocols should trigger automatic penalties, automatic permit suspensions. Um, and they will know that right going in. You have to be able to toe a hard line. However, you implement this duty in this fashion, they will already know what they're getting into. They'll know how it is intentional and how to get around that, and they'll know the penalty for doing that. And you have to be willing to draw that line, push that button. What you did was wrong, learn from it, guide it, make sure that they change the way they do business. They got to know that there's penalties involved.
All right. As we close tonight, we'll have a 2-minute closing. As we head toward the South Dakota GOP convention and election, it's vital that voters know how to reach you. For our final 2 minutes, please let the folks know how they can contact you directly, where they can learn more about you, and why you are the candidate that should earn their vote.
The best thing that I can offer anybody is a relationship built on transparency and truth. What you see is what you get. I always operate in a manner that tells the truth, even if it's the hard truth. Even if I don't agree with you, you'll know why I don't agree with you. While I'm in the legislature, I have the ability to walk in both sides of the aisle. Just as I have a ability to work in both worlds. If I do not believe a certain thing, you know why. If I do, you know why. And that is the best thing that I could bring to anybody is a relationship. I treat everybody like they're my family. I was raised that way. And the best way that you could get a hold of me is texting me 605-877-1238. Texting me before you call me. You can also check out my website. You can message me on Facebook, but the surefire way of getting a hold of me is texting me.